Rád dobré odpoledne. Vítejte po další zdravotní pauze a ještě po technické menší pauze u dalšího semináru. Dneska poprvé takto distančně, ale za to se speciálním hostem. Zdravím všechny, kteří se k nám připojili online a také děkuji našim odvážným hostům, kteří přišli dneska s námi debatovat. Jak víte, seminár je především diskuzní fórum, které je založeno na interakci s publikem, nicméně jsme se rozhodli aspoň takto provizorně během podzimního semestru pořádat naše večery na dálku. Ačkoliv teda doufám, že za těch 14 dnů to bude. Proto bychom byli moc rádi, kdybyste se v průběhu dnešní přednášky zapojili a psali své dotazy, připomínky do komentářů na YouTube, anebo můžete také na Facebook, já budu všechno průběžně sledovat, můžete česky i anglicky a potom ty vaše dotazy přečtu a pokusíme se na ně společně odpovědět. So once again, welcome everyone and thanks for joining us online. Our guest today will be Chris Herdel, a freelance curator, artist and lecturer who will present a lecture called European Imagery Between Tradition and Rupture. I would like to thank him for coming, and as well as the Craze team, namely Matthew Rempley, Marta Filipova, Christian Drobe and Julia Zeklener, who will discuss with us later. And also I would like to thank Masaryk University and our Department of History of Art for their support. If you have any questions, just write them down below into our YouTube channel or Facebook and I will read them afterwards. So Chris, please, it's all yours.
So, I don't need it. Okay. So first of all, I would like to send all my possible thanks to Masaryk University and Craze team, and especially to Jana, who is a brilliant organizer of difficult events like this one. Yes, well, I'm very happy to be here and to give a little contribution to the question: what is the European image, and what about the rupture? And for doing so, I choose the period of the 15th and 16th century, 16th and 17th century, sorry. Cinquecento and Seicento. I just come back from Naples, so I still have the Italian names in the brain. We have. So I would like to structure the talk in three parts. The first one is to show what is the tradition of the European image. I will take three artists which are well known, and then the second part will be about the rupture, also in the Cinquecento, means in the 16th century, and then the third chapter will be about the contemporary situation and the relevance of this endless big fight between picture image maker and image destroyer. So I will start with quoting Exodus, which is from the Old Testament, Exodus. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. So I think it is quite paradigmatic and basic for a long row of iconoclastic movements, which start already in the antique times, then in the 8th century, and then of course in the 16th century, and then later, of course, around the modern times in the 1920s. So actually, it could be very interesting to write a history of iconoclastic movements, which show the political impact of imagery. Yeah? So the answer to this iconophobic position which we will discuss later, has been given in the Second Council of Nicaea in 787, which was previous to this one was another iconoclastic action by the Emperor Leo III, and which destroyed hundreds of images, carven images, and so on, and which also destroyed the profession of artists, because if you don't give work to the artist, well, he stops being an artist and he produces knedlik or I don't know what. Huh? Okay, so, and this is an ongoing problem. So the reply was from this Second Council of Nicaea was to say we do not adore the wood or the material of the picture, but the idea. Yeah? And it leads us to vicinity to God. And this is the idea. So it is quite smart, to my opinion. It's quite smart because it acknowledges the power of the image to represent an idea, yeah? And not the material. Yeah? Whereas all iconoclasts, until the modernists, yeah, let's say, reduce the quintessence of the image to material. And they do not believe in the idea which is transported. Yeah? So next, please. Yeah. So this is about the three painters I would like to show you, and to give an idea of how sophisticated and let's say diverse European iconography is. And I would like to start with the first one, which is Raphael. So they are all working between 1510, 1515, and for Caravaggio, the examples about 1610. Yeah. So if you can have the next, yeah. So here, it's about showing that within the tradition, there can be huge diversity, but it's all within the tradition being figurative and representing, let's say, social facts, social relation. The European image is a social image. Yeah? It is describing social facts. Yeah? And during the millennia, it became so. There was such an accumulation of knowledge, yeah, being in technique and being also in concept, yeah, conceptual development, yeah, that it ended up, for instance, here in the 16th century, in the Cinquecento, it ended up with being extremely sophisticated. And you have here, this is a fresco of Raphael, one of the famous frescoes of Raphael, in the Vatican stances. It's about the School of Athens, a compilation of all philosophers, of all, if you like, of all knowledge of the time, yeah, of all times, yeah. As he shows Diogenes, Aristoteles, he shows mathematicians, he shows even some Arab Muslim, he shows, well, it is really a globalization, global knowledge, which is represented. And then we can next, please. Yeah. And here, and on top is, let's say, the goddess of knowledge. Yeah, we cannot see it very well, but it is on this the band, the blue band. It's written about knowledge. Yeah? Get to know things. Yeah, and so what you don't see is any relation to the Catholic narrative. Like there is no Jesus, no saint, no Virgin Mary, and so on. It's all about knowledge and accumulation of knowledge during the centuries. Next. Okay, and these are details. Next, please. So Raphael, so it is about knowledge, science instead of faith. Yeah, science instead of faith. Yeah? And so it is well documented in another work of Raphael, which is the Villa Farnese, where all the rooms were filled with images. Yeah? And in these images also, again, you do not find any reference to Christian symbols. Yeah? So it is absolutely connected to, let's say, antique ideas which are renascent, yeah? And of course, next please. And of course there are some main themes, which is at one hand it is Mercury, the god Mercury, and of course good life, because this villa was made for the banker T.G. and his wife. Yeah, so it was a kind of a love nest. Next, please. So, and this is what's represented. So, the banker T.G. As Mercurius, because Mercurius was the god of the banker and the thieves, by the way. Yeah, banker and the thieves, yeah? In the antique times. Yeah, so this is repeated on and on. You see, they are on and on. He's repeating the same theme, and to please the owner, which is the banker Kiji, and Kiji later the family got introduced into the papal court, and they had also important representatives in the papal court. Next, please. Okay, so this is Raphael. The second artist, painter, is Michelangelo. Of course, a giant. If Raphael was rather a court painter, yeah, adapting to the needs of the owners, yeah, Michelangelo was much more of an individualist, and he offered his vision of man and God in a very provocative way. Yeah. Next, please. So we are talking about the Sixtine Chapel, and we're talking about the sealing and the Juditio Universale, the Last Judgment, which were done in an interval of 20 years about. Yeah. So the 1520 and 1540 about. Yeah. Okay. And the interesting thing is that here we see the two pieces. Yeah? The vault, this is the starting of the wall, and this is the judgment. Yeah? And here you have Jesus, this is a representation of Jesus, and here you have a prophet, Prophet Jonas. Yeah? And Prophet Jonas was the prophet who doubted about the existence of God. So he's known for this, reason for which he was swallowed by the fish and then expelled again on the command of God. Yeah? So because God wanted to show his extreme power, yeah? And so he was spit out of by the fish, and he was living again and should have witnessed the existence of God. Yeah? This is why Jonas is famous for. Yeah? And what you see formally, that formally you see he's much bigger than actually actual Jesus. Yeah? And in the tradition, the scale, yeah, scale gives you the idea of importance, social importance of the figure, the figure, yeah, the person. Yeah? So it is very interesting that a lot of art historians have not seized this let's say this combination, because they took the two works separately. Yeah? But for me it is not. Yeah? For me it is not. Also why? Because it is known. Yeah? It is known that these artists, whenever they start to work and they found old frescoes, yeah, old frescoes, then they would not hesitate, not even 1 second, to erase it, yeah, to put their own works. Yeah. This is well known. Yeah. So it means for Michelangelo, had he been unhappy with his own work, he would not have hesitated to, yeah. So, but the meaning is very clear. Yeah? The meaning is clear. It is about the questioning God, questioning the society, and questioning. It was a time of questioning. Yeah, the zeitgeist was about questioning all the things which maybe 40 years before were still in balance. Yeah? Right. Next, please. Next, please. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I would like to show from the vault. Yeah, I think Michelangelo was really exceptional artist. Yeah? Because he was questioning all the time. Yeah, all the time. Yeah. Here, this is the sin, the original sin. And what you see here is that the snake, in fact, is a double snake. Yeah. It's not one snake, it's a double snake, yeah? And one ends up in the woman who's giving the apple to Eve, but the other one is ending here, you see, in the angel. Yeah? So it says good and bad, good and evil is not one-sided. Yeah? Everywhere is evil, everywhere is maybe good. Yeah? And this is really a fantastic, a very strong position. Yeah? Next, please. Yeah. So, So, and who dares to represent the what do you call it? Provede, no, of the God. Yeah. Yeah. What's an elegant word in Czech? Sadek, yeah, maybe it's the Sadek. Who can dare to represent? This is God after having created sun and moon, yeah, and now he's flying away, and it is, and he's painted like this. It shows that this Michelangelo had an incredible impact, yeah, even on the Pope. Yeah, nobody dared to touch the artist like Michelangelo, who was considered as a heavenly artist. Yeah, he had all the rights. Yeah, and that was others would have ended on the stake, burned like a grilled kielbasa for less than that. Yeah, that's the point. Yeah, right. So you already have two artists with two totally different positions toward the question of God and man and God. Yeah. So let's see for the third one. Yeah. So yeah, this is an absolute fantastic work by Caravaggio in Malta. Have you been to Malta by chance? Anybody had been to Malta? Well, it is really one of his best works. Yeah, it's about it's the beheading of St. John. It's about 3.6 meter by 5 point something meters. Yeah? It's one of his real big works. Yeah, and maybe there's another one in Naples. The 7 works, Sette Opere della Carità. So, please, next we will go into some detail. Yeah. here we are about, this picture was done in 1608, about when he was in Malta for some time. He had to escape from Malta because he was a bit of a violent character. He had a violent character, so he was always struggling and fighting with everyone. And so he had to escape, but before he made this fantastic painting, which is showing a new spirit. Yeah, the spirit of the Catholic Counter-Reformation, which was saying, okay, humility was the main word. Yeah, humility was the password, if you like. Yeah, and so it was about showing the protagonist of Christian faith on the soil and mistreated and martyrized. Yeah, next please. Yep. Yeah, and the whole. You see the whole. I don't know if you can see it on your computers, on your digital. Yeah, the whole disaster, which is, I think, he means the human disaster. Yeah, there is at the same time there is faith, but there's also huge skepticism. Yeah, huge. Next, please. And this scheme was, to my opinion, repeated by 400 years later by a Czech artist, which is Jakub Číkaneder, and you see the same emotional expressions. Next, please. For what is formally similar, it means, for instance, the finger which shows to the main thing, but now exempt of the religious context. Instead of the saint, you have a normal person which was murdered. For instance, she didn't bring the people fast enough, or we don't know why. And it's something very banal, yeah, if I might say so. It's somehow banal, yeah. But let's say that he was certainly inspired by Caravaggio's painting. Also in Malta, there are two Caravaggios in Malta. This is the Saint Jerome, and his Saint Jerome is really extraordinary. It repeats this idea of questioning of yes, deep skepticism. Here you have, next please, in the detail. I don't know if you can see it. Anyway, anyway, here you have a candle, and here you have a cross. Yeah, but the cross is on the edge of the table or whatever it is. So it is showing a very fragile state. Yeah, it can collapse from one moment to the other. Yeah, the candle has no light. So these are elements which show you that he was not very confident at one hand. On the other hand, he was also, due to his personal experience, life experience, he was, of course, turning back to what he believed true religion was. Yeah? And that can be considered as an element of the Catholic reform. Yeah. Next, please. Yeah. And here, this isn't just an example. It is a device. The idea. You see the flowers, very beautiful here, and here is one which dropped, and who is maybe at the end of the life cycle and can fall or can decay from one minute of the other. It is a very current theme of the 15th and 16th and 17th century. Yeah. Okay, thank you. And just as a contrast to show this is the same picture, the same theme by Giuseppe de Ribera, a Neapolitan artist, but which is, let's say, conceptually not so strong. He's a very good painter, but you just see Saint Jerome translating the Bible, and that's it. Yeah? So this makes the difference of quality, of conceptual quality between Caravaggio and people like Ribera. Yeah? So we make a jump to 1924. This is the Adria building in Prague, 1924. Yeah? I think it's one of your preferred buildings, no?
Not yet.
Not yet. And here you have also seemingly you have the cheering Jesus. Jesus, it's a side entrance, with two figures, but it is, if you show the next one, you see it's a bit of a mock picture, because what does this tower do between the legs of the lady? What is this ship? What is the position of the ship? So it is not a deep religious a sculpture or a figure of religious faith. So this is next. This is against. So what we saw now, this was to show how incredibly sophisticated the European iconography is, within the same figurative, let's say, art. There is a huge range of conceptual, philosophical positions. This is the point. And now, at the same time, again, 16th, 17th century, this time was a period of huge changes, of earthquake-like social changes. And so, yes, next please. We had, in the 16th century, a wave of an iconoclastic wave. In different parts of Europe, the pictures, especially the ones in the churches, were destroyed, the sculptures, the frescoes, and so on. This is an example of Antwerp. Next, please. This is from Wittenberg. It was taken, and I would like to insist on this book from Joseph Kerner, the Reformation of the Image. It's an excellent book. I don't know, is it well known here? You know about this book? You know. Yeah. So it's a really very good book because it shows how this iconoclastic movement developed, and it showed the reasons for it. Next. Okay. The relevance for today is obvious. For instance, this is a picture taken two years ago in Turkey. Turkey, in a museum. So there is absolutely a total disrespect towards Christian symbols. It is okay. They break it. They throw it on the. It is really worthless for them. And this is, unfortunately, one has to say, it is about the incompatibility between societies which, unfortunately, did not, are drifting apart. We have to, unfortunately, we have to acknowledge, and this is quite. So the question of destroying the image, is a very, very current one. It's next, please. So what was we saw the basic text was from Exodus, but then what were the reasons? What were the reasons for this massive wave of hatred against the image, especially the Catholic image? So one element is the social question. the Reformists, the Protestants said, okay, instead of putting so much money into the images, yeah, we rather should help the poor. That's what they said. Yeah, and it's very interesting to see that in the 1920s, yeah, this position was repeated almost word by word. Yeah? Next, please. So, if you destroy idols, you may obtain gold. Means if you don't use your money, yeah, if you don't use your money for pictures, for images, yeah, you can use it somehow in a different way. Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, next, please. And this is from Adolf Loos. It's in German. Yeah. It says that basically it's this ornament. So for the modernist, ornament is everything which is a picture, which is an applied picture to architecture. Yeah? And it is wasted time. It is wasted money. It is wasted. It keeps the poorer because he has to invest his time into producing these what they call ornament. Next, please. And this is the one in English, the translation. Yeah, man would only have to work 4 hours instead of 8, because half of the work done today is devoted to ornament. Ornament is wasted labor power and hence wasted health. It has always been so. It has always been so. Yeah. So there is a full 100% condemnation of everything which appears to be an image. Yeah? Right, next please. So this is the point, that it is not a matter of the 16th century, but it is an ongoing idea from the times of the Old Testament to the moderns and to nowadays. Yeah? If you consider a hipster bar today, you will see no picture. Yeah? You compare it to a cozy coffee place, yeah, from even 30 years ago, yeah, where the owner would put little photos, little records, and so on. Yeah, finish. Yeah, the modern hipster, the contemporary hipster, is exactly this. Yeah. The second reason was, of course, so we had the social reason. Second one is the indulgence problem, where the Europeans, especially the Germans, the Central Europeans, were asked to contribute with their excess wealth to the financing of the Catholic Church, especially in Rome, and especially for the construction of St. Peter's, because it's obvious that you need a lot of money. Yeah? Okay, and this was meeting huge resistance, yeah, by different circles, especially especially by people like this Mr. Peutinger. So Mr. Peutinger stands for a new class of merchants of the 16th century, yeah, who were interested in increasing the wealth, to increase the wealth, accumulation, yeah, of wealth. That was the theme, and therefore he intervened. He's famed for his intervention to skip the prohibition of interest by the Catholic Church. This is what he's famed for. So the interest problem is also something which is going on until nowadays, because at this time, the Catholic merchants or bankers, whatever, money makers, had no right to take interest from lend money. Yeah? Whereas the Jews had this right. Yeah? So there was an imbalance in terms of competition. Yeah? So the Catholic merchants were unhappy, so to say, and they asked, they wrote an email to the Pope and said, look, Mr. Pope, can we skip this stupid prohibition, because we also would like to participate in this game, financial game. Yeah? They proposed that a 5% interest was lawful, whereas for all kind of luxury trade, 20% was the rule in Europe, for instance in Naples, and so this was the with 20% of interest you could not run a local economy. No local shop, no Knedlik producer can survive if he has to pay 20% of interest per year. Yes, now. Yeah, so this is about the same. Maybe interesting is that all these Protestant representation there's always the man, the husband, and the wife. Yeah, so the woman has a very strong position, and it was strengthened because Luther allowed the priest to marry. Yeah, so which is so this is one thing, and from this resulted something like a culture of hatred against Catholics, against papacy, against the Catholic Church, and it was represented in very drastic, in a very drastic way against the papacy, who was created by the devil. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Next. And also Dürer was rather on the side of the Reformists, and he made these pictures. If you look here, the angels are destroying knights and popes and clergy people from the ruling system. Yeah? So Dürer was also part of this next. And have you been to Prague and see this? Did you see this, the Virgin with the rosary? Yeah, everybody? Yeah, well, I think it's a major picture. It's a very important picture because it shows that the ruler, the top ruler is Jesus. He's distributing the crowns and the Virgin Mary. Yeah, this is Maximilian, the emperor, and the Pope. So they are not on the top. They are. This is the meaning of this picture. And next, please. Maybe there's a. Yeah, you have a detail of it. Yeah, it's quite clear that the authority comes from Jesus, and this is absolutely according to Luther. The Lutheran concept. Here another from Albrecht Dürer, the apocalyptical horseman, and I think, but I'm not sure about it, it deserves some research. This is a merchant. Yeah? It's not a soldier or officer. It's a rich guy. He has long hair. He has this probably precious chain, and what he also has here is the balance. The balance is not in an equilibrated position, but it is really out of balance through the winds of this time, which was absolutely violent and revolutionary times. Yeah. Next, please. Not only from the side of the Reformists, but also the Catholics. Yeah? The Catholics also revolted against a social system which concentrated the wealth more and more in the hand of this kind of class of merchant and noble merchants, yeah, who were taking in more and more of wealth and of riches, and it ended in civil wars, yeah, with in German the Bauernkrieg, I think, no, Bauernkrieg, no, which was which ended in 1525 in Frankenhausen with the Münzer, the revolutionary Münzer, who was defeated. And a question to you: have you been in Frankenhausen?
Well, I live close.
Huh?
Yeah, so.
Yes.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
You saw the big work of Tübke. Yeah?
Yeah.
You too. You have been there. Yeah. Oh, wow. It's a major work. Yeah. It's a really. I was really impressed. Really impressed. Yeah. Fun. It's 120 meter long and 50 meter high. Yeah. It's incredible, and I think it's of good quality. Yeah? I don't know if you agree. Yeah. It's Tübke, from Tübke, yeah, and his team. Yeah, there were 15 painters to do this. Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, it's really, and it's not well known. Yeah, it's really, wow, it's fantastic work. Yeah, so you see here the war. Yeah, the war scenes. Only on this battle there were about 8,000 peasants slaughtered. It was a really bloodthirsty period. Next, please. And you see, this is this is the painting by Tübke. Yeah. You see Münzer and Tübke, although working for the socialists. Yeah. Did you see the contract he had? Yeah, it's incredible. No, it is like Michelangelo. Yeah, he took all the rights. He said, "You political guys, shut up! Don't even interfere." Yeah, and he did what he wanted to do, and it's a brilliant work. It's really fantastic. Yeah, and he didn't show the revolutionary as a let's say victorious no. He revolution was defeated. Yeah, you see the flag. Flag is down, yeah? It's defeated, yeah? So, next please. Okay, and this ends up also in some architecture, yeah? Here it is, again, this I took from this Kerner book, yeah? So on the left side you have the mess, the huge mass chaos of the Catholics, with all these sculptures and people around the imagery, and on the right side you have disciplined Protestant and productive Protestant people, and the only thing what you can see here is the clock and the commandments and the clock, because now it was about productivity, produce, no feast, no party, yeah? Produce, take your mask and produce, yeah? Whereas the Catholics had at the same time, in Italy at least, there were per year about 150 holidays where they didn't work. They had fiesta, yeah? Fiesta Italiana or Catholic. Next, please. Yeah? That was, yeah, it's very basic, yeah? For behavior which are reaching until nowadays, yeah? And this one is a picture of Karnak in Württemberg, and I thought, wow, this is a pre-modernist architecture. This one could have been done almost by Mies van der Rohe, yeah? And so it is about cleaning, or let's say, reducing the Christian narrative to three elements: the preacher, which is a kind of a religious Führer or whatever, yeah, Luther, then Jesus, yeah, Jesus a central position, and then the crowd who's listening, yeah, and this next please. And this leads to a certain type of architecture, like the church, the Protestant churches, which you can visit, for instance, in Weimar. Yeah? This is an example of the 18th century. Yeah? And what do? They are filling the space, yeah? So, where you had the Gothic cathedral, where you had huge vertical empty spaces to show the adoration of the Catholic God. Yeah? Now they are filling it up, yeah, with functional. Yeah? They make it functional so that more and more people can assist to Mass. And here, all these seats, you had to pay your fee to sit there. Yeah? And so there was a social structure through money which was given, and of course there was the space became useful. Yeah? Useful. Yeah? Next, please. And this is a detail where you see already all the modern paradigm, which is horizontals, white walls. Next, please. Which you find in the 1960s and even today, yeah, from modern architecture of the Bauhaus. Next, please. Yeah, the Bauhaus, which is simplifying everything, which is making everything, let's say, cheaper. Yeah, cheaper. Yeah. Sometimes for social reason, but I think very often for industrial reason. Yeah, it was a cultural thing. Yeah, this was in Dessau, Turten, and all the big actors of Bauhaus, Mies, Gropius, and so on. They were all Protestant, from Protestant families. Yeah. Okay, and of course there was in Bauhaus was a lot of Jewish students, especially. Yeah. Which, of course, if they were believers, yeah, if they had read their own Bible, it was their text, it was their Bible, yeah, Old Testament, yeah, Torah. So, of course, it was easy for them to accept this type of architecture, to promote it. Yeah? And in fact, Tel Aviv is one of the modern style city, especially after in the 1930s and then after the Second World War. Thank you. Okay, so we go back, for instance, here in the 17th century, you have the spirit of productivity. Yeah? This is from Prague in the National Gallery, yeah? Where you see a family of they're producing jewelry, and of course they are rich, and you finish with angels, finish with the Virgin Mary, and so on. It is now about showing how the production works and showing that they are profiting from this production and from their productivity, which is absolutely according to the thoughts of Calvin, which was even more extremist than Luther. Yeah? Yeah, that's the same. Thank you. And this is for me a great paradox in Holland. Yeah? Holland, the golden age in Holland. Yeah? Holland was one of the most extreme Calvinists. Yeah? And how do you explain that? At the same time, yeah, there were a huge number of pictures were produced, yeah? Like 1 million. Yeah? Incredible. Yeah? I mean, this is subject to study. Yeah? This is a real paradox. Yeah? But maybe it shows that all cultural evolution, yeah? All cultural moments are not. They're always hybrid. Yeah? They're always, you have this and this, you have black and white at the same time. Yeah? This is maybe what it shows. Yeah? Here it's to make a Vermeer, yeah? Fantastic painting, but where is the angel? Where is the saint? Where is the Virgin Mary? Where is the Trinity? Yeah? Which was represented in the Catholic world, which you found certainly very often in Naples. Yeah? No, she's showing, she has a necklace, it's the necklace. She's showing the necklace to the light. Yeah? There's a light coming and she's showing the necklace to the light. And who is the light? Maybe it's the God. We don't know, because in the Calvinist belief, the rich is rich because he's compensated by he has the grace of God. Yeah, he received the grace of God, and that's why he's rich. Yeah? This is the thinking, and which ends up to until today. Next one. Yeah, and this is from Calvin exactly. Yeah, because the Calvin he writes, the human heart is an idol factory, and that's very interesting. Very interesting because he is intelligent enough to understand in his text. Next, please. Oops, yeah, maybe not. The previous one. Oh. Yeah. Now they're back to this Calvin thing. Yeah. Because he understands, he acknowledged that for man, since the very early beginning of human culture, man obviously was in need of some kind of imagery, from the very early times. This is something he acknowledged in his text. But then he says, no, we must not follow this path. We must not. We must cut it out, and we must produce a rupture with the whole of humanity as it existed until now, and we must forget about the images. We must live without image, because any kind of image is an idol. This is what he says. Next week. And the question is, what is an idol? What is idolatry? And I have not found any text about giving an answer. Is it sitting in front of a painting and saying, this is a very nice painting, or does she have to kiss the painting to that so that it becomes an idol? I don't know. I have not read any answer on this, and I tried to get into discussion with Catholic priests and with others. No, there's no answer for me until now. Next, please. So here you have the two poles, the abstract and the figurative, and it says these are paintings by the famous Gerhard Richter, who sells paintings for millions of euro. This is worth millions of euro. It was exhibited in Prague through the German embassy, actually. Who are promoting this type of art, and the comment it is by Richter: it's impossible to paint the misery of life except maybe in grey to cover it. Shades of black and white also prevail in the Birkenau series, and so on and so on. So he's refusing he does not accept that that visual signs become symbols and carry content and through the tradition. He's refusing this, and this is exactly the same iconoclastic position which you find during the centuries. Next, please. Okay, Cy Twombly. This is what we are at. 1980s. Next, please. And this is the end. This is so you are really at the end of the cycle of European iconography. Really reduced to to almost a nonsensical level. So this one is also today from. This is was an exhibition by a German artist, Katharina Grosse, like the big canvas of the big work of Michelangelo, 15 meter high, 40 meter long, stains and colors. So the text, the official text was said that this unique formal vocabulary breaks down the traditional distinction between disciplines and media and celebrates color and its anarchic potential. Yeah? So I don't know what you guys can understand by this. I understand nothing. Yeah? And I would say to the curator, go to Rome or to Naples and have a look at what has been done in the field of imagery. So I'm doing also sometimes a little bit of a protest. Yeah? This is a work, so 15 by 40 meter. This is 15 by 20 centimeter in a golden gilded frame from the 1930s, and it's a photo which I did from Moravian cabbage. Moravian cabbage, yeah, okay? So I think cabbage is a nice motif and it's important, it's very, very good for the health. And I use this to, oppose it to the huge machine. And I just put my work on the work of Madame Grosse and watch the reaction of the people, yeah? If reaction there was. Yeah? So the protest was the matter of size, because the picture is not about size, 15 meters or 15 centimeters, it's about the idea which it transports. Yeah? This is about the European picture. Yeah? The idea, does it transport an idea? Is the idea very conventional? Is it very, it is traditional, or does it break totally with the tradition or partly? Is there some individual input? Yeah? Can I see, this was an idea by Michelangelo? Yeah? It is not just a repetition of a theme. Yeah? Okay. So this is what European iconography is about. And to end the talk, I show just some pictures from works which are displayed by the Catholic Church in different countries. Yeah? And you will see that the Catholic Church today is refusing its own tradition. Yeah? So this is in Paris, in a place called Les Bernardins. So you have, I don't know what it means. Yeah, okay, don't ask me. Next, please. This is in Naples, where you have this old inner church. Yeah? So this is about stains and how many millions of this fantastic formal experience do we have? Yeah? Next, please. This is in Czech Republic, in not Olomouc, in Český Budějovice. Yeah? It's a reformed cathedral, yeah? Which has exactly the same void as here. This is supposed to be artworks in the local art gallery. Yeah? So they are on the same. This is in Prague, in a fantastic church, Maria Snezka, or what is it? Mary, Saint Mary from the Snows, or something like this. Snezka, which is really beautiful church. I love it. Yeah, and they had this jubileum of the 12 martyrs, and had this kitsch produced by an academic painter, Akademicki. Next. And this is a this is a piece of doner in Il Gesù, in you know doner kebab, yeah? You know doner kebab, yeah? You like, yeah, doner kebab, yeah. So you can go to Il Gesù, which is one of the most important churches at least for the Jesuits, yeah, in Rome, yeah. And they find nothing better than to put this as I don't know what, yeah. I don't know what. I think was this. Yeah, this was an example of Poland, and so we can go on and on. And maybe the last one. Is there a last one? No. This one is about. But I think we have to stop. No, we have to stop. No.
No, we have time.
But maybe there will be some questions, and so. Yeah. Okay. So we can stop. Yeah. I think it was quite clear at least what concerns the Catholic input contemporary imagery. So thank you for attending, and if you have some remarks, arguments, or questions, you're welcome. Maybe Do we have the connection still with some people? Maybe they can.
It's on.
Thank you very much. So if I can summarize your argument, it's obviously a kind of heartfelt plea, or a kind of a mournful kind of, regretting of the passing of a tradition. And obviously I can quite clearly see that, you have an emotional, very personal, very deeply felt attachment to Renaissance art and the culture, the religiosity that was part of that as well. And obviously, clearly a certain degree of regret, I'll just put it like that, at the state we're in now. Now, on the one hand, would you say, is that a fair characterization? Is that a fair description of your position?
Yes, to some extent, yes, but it's difficult to start the talk with giving my position. I'm absolutely convinced that we have to build up Europe. Yeah? And building up Europe is not about exchanging cars for benzene or knedlik or whatever. Yeah? It is a cultural question. And the cultural question, unfortunately, and in this sense, my regret, but also I'm fighting for this. Yeah? This is why I'm here. And I'm
okay,
talking,
no, that's fine. That's fine. Well, that's a slightly separate. I suppose. In one sense, I'm sort of. I'm quite sympathetic to that, actually. Although I'd have a very different reading of what it means. It seems to me these examples that you've shown at the end. You're right; they're completely trivial and banal. But I suppose the question is, what does that signify? That banality. I suppose my reading would be that it quite clearly shows that the church is in a moment of crisis because it's inherited a tradition that's bankrupt, that has no value anymore. So we can admire the works of Michelangelo, we can admire the paintings of Raphael, whatever, but we can't bring that back. That belongs in the past. It's a museum piece, and we can admire them as historians of art. We can admire it as part of the heritage of our culture, but you cannot. It has no place in the living culture of the present. And many of the examples you've sort of shown, in a way, is a kind of deeply felt effort by the church to try and reinvent or almost find a new kind of iconography. And I think it's slightly misleading when you obviously don't like the Bauhaus and a certain tradition of modernist design, but I think it's slightly misleading to kind of set up this dual opposition, because actually, for many architects, designers associated with that kind of modernism, what they were doing was it was a deeply moral project, because they saw the Catholic Church and Catholicism as deeply corrupt, immoral, and everything it stood for. And I think you have to recognise that although you personally you have a kind of you have an aesthetic preference, obviously for figurative tradition, for a certain iconographic language, but I think it's important to acknowledge that where they are coming from is a sense that that tradition is exhausted. And you see that because, I mean, so many times when you see examples of church art in the present that tries to resurrect this kind of figurative tradition, it just looks trite because it doesn't, you know, it just looks, it belongs in the past. I mean, there's a very nice book by James Elkins about that, you know, about the kind of awkward place of religious art in contemporary society. And I'm a little bit troubled about the way you sort of just simply dismiss. Certainly that, I mean, not that I want to be a cheerleader for the Bauhaus or whatever, but I think just to simply dismiss it, because it wasn't just about cheapness or about commerce or whatever. It was also often about moral purity. It was a deeply, you know, obviously invested with deep moral values. And I think, you know, I think it's important to recognise that and not just simply set it up as almost kind of bunch of proto-capitalists, you know, against the demands of, against the culture of Catholicism. Because I think it's more complicated than that.
No, for sure. But I would give back, I would reply by a question. How it was on purpose that I showed these three the Michelangelo and the other two. It was on purpose to show that within a few decades, very different concepts, very different approach to the question, who am I, who is man, how are we related to God, was developed. And you need individuals, you need good artists, otherwise you end up in kitsch, as you said, rightly said, it's kitsch, it's nothing, so why? Because for 50 years they destroyed all artistic knowledge, you have to build it up, you have to finance it, you have to, you have an idea of how much they paid a painting of Caravaggio, a big one? Do you have an idea?
Do you mean now or then?
No, then.
No, I don't know. I'm not an 18th century historian.
Okay, so I tell you, because there are the documents about the Sette Opere della Carità in Naples. You have seen it, no? I think you have been to Naples. Yeah? You have seen the and he survived. Incredible. 400 gold ducats, which. Okay, so you can make a transposition to nowadays, about 2 million euro. So it was big money, It was big money, but they deserved it, the works I showed you by Michelangelo, it took him years to do it, 5 years, So a question, I give you back a question, how is it possible with the reduced means of Bauhaus iconography, how can you express these extremely sophisticated differentiated positions which were shown, which I tried to show through the three artists, with white walls and with a few lines and with a few, how can you do it?
Well, but I think it's a different question. You know, that's kind of, because they weren't trying to do the same thing, because they realised that you can't keep on doing the same thing. That time has gone. I mean, even in a way you could say, you know, follow Hegel and say the problem started with art had already come to an end when Christianity started. You know, that was when things started really going downhill with Christianity. With the Catholic Church. So I think you can't, no, I'm not saying I believe that, but nevertheless he has an argument, you know, which is a coherent one that for a long time had a lot of followers. But I think you can't just make these sorts of comparisons between, I don't know, Marcel Breuer designing chrome chairs and Caravaggio painting pictures, because they're not even trying to do the same thing, because Breuer or whoever realised that you cannot keep on, you know, the world of Caravaggio has gone. It's an exhausted tradition. You have to recognise that you have to find some new kind of language. So it wasn't I think you're presenting it as a kind of destructive act, but it wasn't a destructive act. I mean, there have been plenty of destructive acts, obviously, but not that, I really think it's slightly misleading to put it like that.
I just would like to say something, yeah, but maybe after. So just one thing, I think the Caravaggio, the theme of humility is absolutely contemporary. It's a theme of today. Yeah? We have to calm down. We have to come back to humility if, for instance, we want to change the problem of nature, of climate, and so on. Yeah? We cannot continue.
Yeah, but I would say that the church in Weimar that you showed, that's a sign of humility. That's an expression of humility.
No,
because it's a kind of it's a kind of rejection of Hochmut, of Catholic Hochmut, Catholic arrogance, because it's that sense that simplicity is how you express your humility. I mean, before God, the argument would be that Catholicism is a Catholic church is the last place you go to see humility, because actually it's about a kind of hubristic fascination with material culture. Now, I'm not saying I believe that, but there is an argument to say that, and I think again it's misleading to sort of somehow imply that humility can't take lots of different forms, or the expression of humility.
Absolutely.
But anyway, I've said enough. So.
Well, I'm struggling to give this another take, I have to say, because it's so convoluted between kind of ideology, long-term developments through, decades and centuries. So, thanks for your talk, first of all. It showed kind of a longue durée of iconoclasm and a history of iconography in Europe, which was really interesting to see and to follow. One thing, obviously, and Matthew already touched this, is obviously there was a big shift around 1900 where religious belief would, shift to the individual, and the kind of corporate religious belief within the Catholic Church just ended, but that doesn't mean the kind of belief in itself in it. So, for instance, if you take Mark Rothko's work in the 1950s, you would find in abstract painting much of the same kind of belief from a Jewish painter within the same kind of iconoclastic gesture. But the mixture between iconoclasm and the loss of pictoriality doesn't mean the loss of religious belief. So, do you know what I mean? There could be both things happening at the same time. You can lose the image in the 20th century and still be, a religious person. And so there is no kind of system or no narrative which leads from Luther, Protestantism, directly to the loss of, a religious belief in total. I don't know if you can understand my take on that.
Yeah, well, we should have here a priest. Yeah, we should have here. But I'm talking seriously because look, I'm a painter myself. Yeah, and it took me quite some years to go through this, let's say, self-teaching and so. And I'm not a Catholic. Yeah, but no. It's okay to say I'm not a Catholic in the sense that I don't follow the rites, but I respect profoundly the Catholic Church for their cultural impact on European society. I certainly believe that it is a big part of, let's say, of our values until now, and I would agree, for instance, for the humility. Okay, it is subject to debate to say, what Lawes said, what the 16th century guy said, to say, okay, we don't make an expensive 2 million picture here, and instead of this we give it to the bezdomovce. Yeah. Yeah, we can debate about it. I'm afraid I'm helping bezdomovce in Prague. There are 5,000 to 6,000. Yeah, in a rich city of Prague, 5,000 to 6,000 people who are sleeping in the parks in the winter. Yeah. Huh? Okay, we saved money. We don't produce good pictures anymore. Yeah. For instance, I think that Richter is absolutely mediocre. Yeah, I think it's absolute. I mean, if you compare it to what these guys created before, it's ridiculous. Yeah? To say, wow, this is now a little scribble is 2 million, 5 million, 20 million, and so on. Yeah. So what is, for instance, my next question to myself will be to study what is idolatry. Yeah. Huh? Does it, for instance, the Orthodox, yeah, what I saw in Ukraine, yeah, they believe, yeah, and they kiss the material. They kiss the material, yeah. So it has to be. I have no judgment on it, yeah. But fact is that they kiss the material, yeah. And whereas the Catholic just maybe kneel down in front of an image, yeah. So what happens? Yeah, what really happens? What do they mean by don't use idols? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it has to be discussed, for instance, with a priest, and I tried many times to.
Well, there's a very good book by an art historian called Hans Spelting who talks about this in great detail. I think you should read it.
Yeah, sure.
Because
sure.
I mean, it's called. You know, it's about the cult of images,
yeah.
and he's really carefully documents the vast amount of writing that there was from the 800s through to the 1500s. And interestingly, you took as your starting point Raphael. Well, for Belting, it all goes wrong with Raphael because Raphael privileges beauty over divine aura and even
absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely.
But I mean there is quite a lot of literature about idolatry, what it means. So it's not, you don't need to consult a priest. There is a lot.
Yeah, but it's always good to have different sources.
Of course.
But I will take your suggestion, and you will give me because.
Well, he has a specific meaning, I think, here in Brno, because we have a library that is named after him because he donated a significant number of books to the library. So I felt I had to mention.
You could even go further with Belting on that book Back to Giotto, because Belting says it all goes wrong with Giotto, because the Orthodox imagery is a different path for art history than Giotto and the normal canvases for the Western world. So, but again, I want to reiterate my question. Those are different narratives. So after 1945, there was a book by Hans Edelmeier for Lust der Mitte, and he was struck by abstraction and the rise of abstraction in Western societies, because he couldn't understand how belief would work if we have a world with no figurative painting. Yeah. So, but the other thing is, that is a narrative for an art historian which could be interpreted as, you know, being pessimistic about the development of Western society. But we have to, unfortunately, or fortunately, I have to say, differentiate that from the actual historical process. Otherwise, we end up being, I don't know, ideologists or something like that. Because we judge or value a development within art as being representative of the whole society, which might be to a certain degree, but not in total, I'm afraid.
May I ask, are there maybe questions from the public, or from the internet public, or they already fell asleep? Or?
I can ask a question. I can pretend I'm public. I would like to ask, probably on behalf of the students who study art history, and they learn iconography and iconology in a very specific way here. So my question would be, how do you approach images? What is your method in kind of putting all of this together? How do you approach images? Because you're trying to kind of compare Renaissance paintings to contemporary art. I think that students probably would not see how you can make meaningful comparisons within these kind of such a long span of art history. So I'm just wondering, how do you use images? And by that I mean paintings, works of art, all sorts of visual material. What's your approach to the visual material you've shown us?
Well,
what's
maybe,
your method, basically?
okay. So for the first part of the question, I think yes. The paradigm. I was researching for a long time to find what is the root. Why did suddenly people kick out all what was created for centuries? Yeah, and even hated these works. Yeah, what was the root? Yeah, and this is what I tried to explain. So there is a long tradition, yeah, of iconoclasts, yeah, which not only in the 16th century, but I mentioned it very briefly by Leo III. Yeah? There's an excellent book by Hauser on this, yeah, which explains quite well the reasons of iconoclasm in the 8th century. Yeah? Very good book. Yeah? So it is a continuing. There is a tradition of destroying images, like there is a tradition of producing images. Yeah? You have, especially, I don't know if in Brno you have a collection of works of the socialist times, yeah? Especially of Stalin times, like 1950 to 65, roughly. Yeah? In this period, you find a huge. Many of these works are related to the Catholic tradition. It's incredible, yeah? But unfortunately they're not shown. Yeah? They are technically quite good. Yeah? They had good painters. Yeah? They are very witty. Very often they are very witty. Yeah? Because sometimes they are doing a little bit of, let's say, propaganda, but too much. Yeah? And you can perfectly see, the intention of the artist was to ridiculize, in fact, what he was supposed to praise, yeah, and the clients, his communist clients, didn't notice it because they were barbarians, obviously, yeah. So the point is that you have from the Catholic, boom, you have it in the Stalinist time. Yeah? They made Catholic pictures, yeah. For instance, from charity. From instance, there is one in Prague. Yeah, what do you call it? A comrade, Soucet. No, not Soucet. The Soudruž. Yeah, Soudruž. Yeah, in the arm of Soudruž. Yeah. Soudruž, yeah. So in Prague, yeah, in the Witkov monument, yeah, you have a fallen Soudruž in the hand of another, like Michelangelo's.
Except I would say that's the classical tradition. It's not Michelangelo. That's Phidias or whatever. That's the point. It's a pagan tradition that's going back to. And,
yeah, which was. Yeah.
That's what I'm sorry, yeah. Okay. Julia.
Thank you very much. Does this work?
Yeah.
I think my question follows on from Marta, knowing that you also, as you said, you paint yourself and you're also a curator. Mm-hmm. So I wonder how your understanding of iconography and iconoclasm informs your practice as an artist and a curator. I know that you've shown a small example, and you mentioned when you juxtaposed your work to Grosse, and you were waiting for the reactions. So I wonder how, first of all, you would then create a show based on your ideas, how that is reflected in your painting, and also what the reactions are.
Yeah. Okay. So interesting question. Yeah, I did quite some works on the theme of the cross. Yeah, the cross. Yeah? The cross, Greek cross, the cross with the Jesus, and so on. Yeah, and I did quite some work, and I did even a small exhibition, which was part of a collective exhibition in Naples. Yeah, on this, but. For me, it's very interesting. Yeah, the outcome of this was that the artist, if he is also a philosopher. Yeah, he has to develop more than invent. Yeah, he has to develop, call it a philosophical scheme, a philosophical concept. Yeah, where I can say, aha, this is from Michelangelo. It's not from Raphael. Yeah. Where I can see this is from Chris Herdel and not from, this is for me an important element of quality. Yeah, to see, aha, this is really somebody who thought about it, yeah, and who produced, who translated his thoughts not in lettera, yeah, but in visual signs, yeah, which must be understood, and they can only be understood if they are partly, at least partly, part of a tradition. Yeah? Otherwise it cannot be understood. Yeah? I cannot invent symbols all the time. I can little bit move in the iconological or movement. Yeah? But I cannot make a total innovation like many contemporary artists are pretending to do. Yeah? So my practical work is really connected to my research, yeah, because it's I try to infuse my ideas, yeah, which I develop by studying. Yeah, I'm a student. Yeah, I will read another interesting book after this lecture. Yeah, and develop slowly. Yeah. Does it more or less reply to you? Or maybe would you like to?
The reaction as well.
Again?
The reaction.
The reaction thing. Look, yeah, it's a disaster. Yeah, the reaction of people in this, they're not even, because they are used to so much senseless or things which artworks which are not able to create any kind of empathy, any kind of understanding, because it is just styles and lines and so on. Yeah, and this is for at least majority of people. It's too much. They cannot follow. Yeah, Covanda. Yeah, Covanda made you know Covanda. Huh? Okay, so Covanda makes. Huge exhibition with the students in Prague, yeah, in Prague National Gallery, yeah, and the people they go like this, and they go home and they go to drink a pivo, yeah. If you are a little bit interested in the you stay 1 hour in the Sixtine Chapel and you go because you're stiff, your neck is stiff, you're like this, and you cannot. You go home like yeah.
But I, in a funny kind, although I disagree with you about various things, I mean I know what you mean, I mean what you're describing is a moment of crisis. Okay, it's a moment of crisis, and it's to do with the loss of tradition. It's to do with a kind of a loss of a shared culture. But you see, I mean, people not being able to understand Covanda, that's because, for 100 years, probably more, art has become gradually more and more withdrawn into itself. This is the classic explanation, and that's because it's about trying to, this would be Clement Greenberg's version of it. It's about trying to avoid becoming just commercialized kitsch, junk, trash. And so what it does, it becomes ever more focused on itself it becomes part of a rarefied culture, and of course it leaves most of the public, most people who are not part of the art world, it leaves them mystified, you know. And as a trained art historian, I know how to read works by that, because I know there's a kind of language to do with abstract painting. I know how to interpret it. At the same time, I have to say that I often have exactly the same experience when I go through a gallery full of Renaissance paintings of saints, biblical legends. Most of them I don't know who they are, and even when I see what I'm told on a label, who it is, this is, you know, some Blairs or somebody, I've got no idea who they are. So I think what it's important to recognise is that you're no different. In a way, you're obviously immersed in a kind of a world of learning to do with that culture, which most people in the general public don't have either, you know. And it's a kind of a problem to do with the fact that art, there isn't a common culture. You know, this was something that, I don't know, for example, in Britain, T.S. Eliot talked about this in the 1930s, you know, that our culture was fracturing. There wasn't a shared culture, and it was fracturing in all sorts of different ways, to do with class, to do with religion, blah, 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 and I think that, obviously, I don't know what the answer is, and probably there isn't, because I think the nostalgia, or the idea that you can build, or reassemble, put together culture, is based on a kind of desire to restore a world that you cannot bring back, because society has changed, everything about the structure of society has changed, you know. We may mourn its passing, and we may obviously have a deep emotional attachment to the works that expressed a different stage in the history of our culture, but I think it's very difficult to sort of just simply dismiss things as, you know, well, we don't know what they mean, because actually that's a symptom of the times we're in, and we're all part of it. None of us, in that sense, can exclude ourselves or imagine we're all symptoms of the problem in a way, in different ways, of course, maybe.
May I give an example to this?
Yeah.
I was recently, a few days ago, I was still in Naples, and I revisited the frescoes of Vasari. Have you seen the Fresco of Vasari? Okay, so if you go back to Naples, don't miss it. But you know Vasari, yeah? Okay, every art historian knows Vasari. Yeah, what a question, yeah? Okay, so we were three, yeah? In this, so it's about, 40 by 10 meters or 8 meters, yeah? And so Vasari painted the walls, yeah? the ceiling, yeah? Maybe with 100 different pictures, yeah? And I was asking myself, what could these, so the other two were young people, yeah? And I asked, what can they understand? What can they understand? What can they do with this? Yeah? So they were sitting there and making some photos and stuff. And I went to see them, yeah? And I asked them, what do you think of this? What do you understand? Yeah? And we stayed 1 hour, yeah? 1 hour. They took the time, yeah? They took the time, and we had a debate like we have a debate. So one was a student of economy, and one was what do you call it, public relation, whatever this is. Huh? Okay, no, international relation. Oh, okay. So, and these two young people, 23, 4 years, were 1 hour debating around Vasari's pictures. Huh? And the question was, what do you understand? What does it transport for you people today, with little knowledge of art history, iconography, and so on and so on. Huh? So the result was, for instance, we saw symbols of justice, yeah? The justice, the scale. Yeah? It's still valid today. Yeah? It's still, even young people can understand, this is somehow it was enough to draw their attention to this specific picture. Yeah? There was a picture of a young woman, where you could see it was very Michelangelo-esque, because you could see a little bit again the Herdel. I'm very sorry to use it, but it was very carnal, yeah, very okay. And then there was the woman, the old woman, yeah. The one had the cornucopia was full, yeah. The other one, the cornucopia was empty and grayish and so on, yeah. So this is something they were absolutely able to understand. It was enough to engage, to draw their attention, and this would be my point, to say, wow, there's no more education about these things, because justice is important, yeah, and a symbol of justice is important today, yeah. So we can look how did they. Because in this time it was a fight for, I try to show it, yeah, with the San Francesco di Paola, who's squeezing the money in front of the king, yeah, and out of the squeezed money comes the blood, yeah. Wow, this is very strong, yeah. It says, look, you rich guys, your wealth, yeah, is based on the suffering of others, yeah? And this is the situation we have today, yeah. If the wealth we have in the West is based on the workers of the little children in wherever in the other continents. Yeah. So for me, it is not let's say picture of the past. No, it is the same problem. Yeah, the same structure. Psychologically, greed. Yeah, greed. Yeah, economically, yeah, concentration of. Politically, concentration of power. Yeah? Wow, we are. I don't see a very big difference in the basics. Yeah, in the basics.
Can I just say, given the time we have, and we are quite limited with our intake of Knedlik and beer and wine, and we should maybe. I don't want to cut off the discussion. Maybe the students have, and we have some questions from the people.
No, people are quiet. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So would you like
Good students.
You can say whatever you want.
Well, I could react to that, but I'm.
Well, you can do it over beer.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you're fine with that.
I'm absolutely fine. I'm absolutely fine.
So we'll end it here, I guess.
I would say thank you very much for your talk.
And
Yeah.
Yes, I would like to thank as well. And as you mentioned, Ms. van der Rohe, it will be our next topic. So I welcome all of you. Takže za 14 dní doufám, že se uvidíme tedy a téma bude Ms. van der Rohe a jak se prožívá jeho prostor, jak by se měl prožívat. Takže thank you again and have a nice day.
the speaker is Chris Law.
Yes, and will be Chris on historic architecture. Yeah, thank you.
Excellent.